Hello everybody and welcome to the seventh and final video in our series of videos on the 1798 rebellion. As always, we begin with our learning outcomes, so by the end of this presentation you guys should know how Wolfe Tone was captured and what happened to him. Second, you guys should know what happened, what the Act of Union was, and how and why it was passed in the Irish Parliament. And third, you guys should know who Robert Emmet was and what happened with his rebellion. As we saw last time out, the French invasion fleet that landed in Killala Bay was defeated here in Ballinamuck, and then another invasion fleet landed in Donegal, only to find the rebellion was over and to turn around. However, one final invasion fleet reached Lough Swilly here on the 12th of October. This invasion fleet contained 10 French ships. They fought against the British Navy in probably the biggest sea battle in Irish waters, but the French were defeated. Theobald Wolfe Tone, one of the key figures in the United Irishmen, was on board one of these ships, and when the French fleet surrendered, he was arrested. Wolfe Tone was sentenced to be hung as a traitor and denied his wish to be shot as a soldier. He committed suicide instead of being hung as a traitor. William Pitt, the Prime Minister of England, decided that once the rebellion broke out, that the best thing to do was to get rid of the Irish Parliament and to make Ireland part of the British Kingdom, so that it would then be ruled from Westminster in London. He proposed to the now scared Protestant ascendancy that Ireland could be more prosperous and safely ruled from London. And through a series of briberies and propaganda, the British convinced the Irish politicians to vote the Irish Parliament out of existence. Despite desperate attempts by men such as Henry Grattan, the Act of Union was passed in August of 1800, which brought Ireland under direct control of Britain. The Parliament in College Green closed forever, and the Act of Union came into place in January 1801. There were promises of Catholic emancipation given if the Parliament voted itself out of existence, but King George II refused to implement these promises of Catholic emancipation. There was one more attempt at rebellion. This happened in 1803. Robert Emmet revived the United Irishmen after the 1798 rebellion. He organised it so secretly that the government officials had no idea that he had reorganised the organisation and that he was now planning his own rebellion. He made an impressive amount of weapons. He was a bit of a genius. He designed rockets and defences against cavalry charges, and created his own hand grenades. Unfortunately, a massive explosion at one of the depots where he was making his weapons led to their cover being blown. The next week, on the 23rd of July, after the explosion at the depot, Emmet launched his rebellion. However, the numbers of men expected to join never materialized. They never showed up, and the rebellion really descended into more of a drunken riot than anything else. A month later, Emmet was arrested. He was sentenced to death, and he famously said at his trial, "Let no man write my epitaph. When my country takes her place among the nations of earth, then let my epitaph be written." So he said his life and his death wasn't over until Ireland was free. So the 1798 rebellion ultimately was a failure, as was Robert Emmet's rebellion in 1803, but it marked the first time that Ireland had an organised physical response to the British throughout the country. It would take another 120 years and many failed rebellions, but eventually this physical response, this organised physical attacks on the British would help earn Ireland its freedom. So that brings us to the end of our presentation. So by now you guys should know how Wolfe Tone was captured and what happened to him. You guys should know what the Act of Union was and how and why it was passed in the Irish Parliament. And finally, you guys should know who Robert Emmet was and what happened with his rebellion. Thanks for watching. Hope you guys got something good from this video.